Hello friends, today we are going to talk about how to prepare an effective resume. I'm sure you understand the importance of resume, you understand how much weightage a resume would carry, and having a good resume will definitely give you a good exposure. Having a good resume would definitely enhance the way the recruiter is viewing your profile, enhance the way you're presenting yourself to the recruiter or to the HR, and then accordingly they would select you for the respective role. So having a correct resume, presenting the resume correctly is something which is extremely important. So we are just going to be discussing something about that. And having a effective resume definitely gives you an edge over your other competitors who are applying for the position. Okay, so today now we are going to talk about the very first important point, which is the title of the resume. So the title of the resume is something which is very important. Having the right title will give you an excellent edge over your other competitors who are applying for the post. Why? Because the title itself signifies what are your achievements, what have you done. So try to cover out the title in the right form. You should always mention the higher education which you have done in your title. Mention the experience which you have gained in your lifespan in the title. Try to mention the industries which you have worked on in the title. So these are a few of the things which you cover out properly in your title that will give you a sense of that will give the recruiter a sense of information as to what are your achievements. And it is very important that your title does not exceed more than 1 or 2 lines. 2 lines is the maximum that you could exceed out with. Don't go more than that. And mention the title correctly. Another very important point, coming to the second point, the very important point what we are going to talk about is the skills and the keywords. Now, what are the kind of keywords you're going to use in a resume is going to be extremely important again. Why? Because when the recruiter is searching your profile in any form, like whether it's online or somewhere else, they're going to source out the profile through the right set of keywords. So having the right set of keywords is extremely important. If you're into a sales role, like keywords like say corporate sales, industrial sales, B2B sales, B2C sales, retail sales, or any kind of other selling techniques which you have, you can mention that in your resume. Because when the recruiter is going to look out for your profile, they're going to type out these keywords and try to source your profile. So mentioning all these keywords correctly in your profile will help the recruiter gaining access to your profile when they are searching the resumes. So mention the keywords appropriately. Say another aspect which comes in is the right skill set. So mention the skill set appropriately when you're talking about the say, like maybe in an IT industry you have skill sets like Java, or you have it is Java plus EJB, or it is with Hugon development, or it is with IBM. So these are various skill sets which are there. So every industry will have its own set of skill sets, and it is very important that you mention it properly. Mentioning the right skill set and the right keyword will give a good reach to your resume. So just ensure that you are putting this information correctly. Another important point is the flow of the resume. It is very important that the flow of your resume goes very correctly. You should always start out with your name and your basic details, and then move on with the work experience. So talking about the work experience, you should always mention the current organization first. Mention the period of service correctly, wherein from which month and year you are working in that organization till date, or whether it is like if the job is already completed and you moved on to the next. So mention the period, say for example from July 16 to July 18. So when the HR is having a look at your resume, they are easily checking out the information, what is your correct experience and the period of service with that particular organization. When you are mentioning about your job role, do ensure that you are covering all the major points that you have done in your job profile, in your job role, in your so like if you have any major achievements, say being a sales profile, if you have done any achieved great sales targets, you have covered various regions. So do mention that. If you have come up with a good sales strategy or a marketing strategy, do mention about that marketing strategy. So what will happen in that case is it will simultaneously give leverage to your profile. The HR will be able to go through that particular aspect appropriately. And mention keep your resume crisp, but try to cover all the points. my genuine request, don't just take the data from somewhere and add it in your profile. That is not something which is appreciated at all. So it is very important that the whatever information you put in is genuine, and it has to be appropriately based on your work experience. Again, like if you have done any projects while working on in the organization, do mention about those projects in your profile. Like any if you have got any certifications from an employer, do mention about that. Like if it's an employee of the month or employee of the year, or there is any other significant recognition which you have received from your employer, do mention about that in the profile. So that is something again, it will be highlighted properly to the HR. So do take care of these basic things when you're mentioning the within the flow of the overall resume, within the content of the overall resume. So right from key skills to your achievements to your work experience, all these things should be mentioned appropriately. Another important point is again the education. Like, so from where have you done your graduated, from where have you done your post graduation, everything should be mentioned appropriately in your profile. It should not be missed out anywhere. Your education, if you have gained any other professional expertise, do try to mention about that as well. You can mention about any computer skills which you have gained. Even though you may be applying in a sales role, you may still have to prepare an MIS. So it is imperative that you know computers, you know how to deal with some basic operating tools. So do mention about that as a even though it's in brief, but do mention about that. It becomes important. Not the least, your personal credentials. That is something which is important as well. For depending on the kind of role, sometimes the HR is looking at the personal credentials as well. I hope you like this informative video. So in the coming videos, we'll talk more about the various aspects of resume and get into the detail. If you like this video, do subscribe to our channel, which is People Venture, and you will get the details of our website in the description as well. So kindly go through it, do share it, your resume, and have a successful job career ahead. All the best. Thank you.